Have you ever wondered what enabled a young general to change the destiny of an entire nation in just 7 short days, at the moment when the country hung by a thread? When the enemy marched arrogantly into the capital, the people's hope seemed nothing more than a faint spark, yet from that very spark, a blazing flame erupted, lighting up the entire sky of Vietnamese history. That story began with a strange dream, a dream that granted extraordinary strength to a great man army. The cruel smoke of war. That hero was none other than Nguyen, who later crowned Emperor Quang Trung. Born in 1753 in the sun-scorched land of Vietnamese, from a young age he stood out with sharp intelligence, robust strength, and an unyielding spirit. Not only was he a master of martial arts, but he also understood the heart of the people, seeing their suffering under endless civil strife. When the Tây Sơn uprising broke out, Nguyen Hue rose as a mighty banner, leading the people forward, and his heart always burned the desire to reunify the country, regain independence, and bring peace to all. By the end of 1788, as Qing armies poured into Thăng Long, the court trembled and many lost their will. But in the south, Nguyen Hue did not hesitate. He immediately proclaimed himself emperor under the reign titled Quang Trung, and within days gathered a vast army to march north. Along the march, the Tây Sơn army halted at the rugged Tam Điệp mountains. On a freezing winter night, with thick fog blanketing the camp and weary soldiers resting after a long journey, Nguyen Hue lay down in a small tent lit by a flickering torch. It was at that very moment that a strange dream unfolded. In his restless sleep, Nguyen Hue saw himself standing before a towering mountain. Clouds swirled, and from the mist emerged a majestic mountain god clad in shining armor. The god's voice thundered like rolling storm. This battle will be won, but you must strike swiftly, like the tempest itself. I shall aid you. Those words engraved themselves deep within his heart. The dream was not just an omen, it became a source of spiritual strength, igniting unshakable faith and transforming determination into unstoppable power. The next morning, as the crimson sun rose above the mountains, Nguyen Hue gathered all his generals and soldiers. He recounted the strange dream and proclaimed firmly, "We cannot delay. We must strike with lightning speed. Within 1 week, we shall reach Thăng Long, leaving the enemy no chance to react." His commanding voice, blazing eyes, and burning spirit shattered the fog of Tam Điệp. His words echoed like thunder, infusing the hearts of thousands of soldiers with newfound confidence and strength. To stir the army's spirit, Nguyen Hue pointed at the mountains before him and declared with a voice like fire, "If I do not triumph, may I turn into this very mountain." The oath was powerful and sacred, like a covenant between the hero and the land itself. Hearing this vow, the soldiers trembled, then erupted in roaring cheers. Their morale surged like crashing waves. Under Quang Trung's banner, they believed nothing could stand in the way of victory. The Tây Sơn army immediately set off. They crossed treacherous mountains, forded rivers in the bitter cold, marching day and night without rest. War drums echoed, torches blazed through the darkness, guiding their relentless advance. Despite hardship, the soldiers' eyes shone bright, fueled by the oath of their commander. Every step beat in rhythm with the nation's heart, carrying the land closer to its destined hour. On the 5th day of the Lunar New Year, the Tây Sơn army thundered into Nghi like a storm. Earth and sky shook with their shouts and the pounding of drums. The Qing troops, once arrogant, fell into chaos. Nguyen Hue, clad in gleaming armor, rode a white horse beneath a crimson banner whipping in the wind. He charged at the front, leading his men like a tempest. In moments, the Qing defenses crumbled, their fortresses shattered, their arrogance dissolved into panic. The battlefield lay strewn with enemy corpses, while Qing soldiers fled in disarray. Tensi Nguyen, their commander, panicked and abandoned the capital, fleeing northward, amid smoke and fire. Nguyen Hue stood tall upon his steed, his eyes unwavering, his face radiant with triumph. The soldiers' cheers blended with the tears of joy from the people, forging an immortal anthem of a victorious spring. In just 7 short days, the Tây Sơn army swept away hundreds of thousands of Qing invaders, liberating Thăng Long. The red banner of victory soared over the citadel, marking a legendary feat and an eternal spring in the nation's history. The dream at Tam Điệp was no mere illusion, it became reality, a miracle sung through the ages. It proved that with unshakable faith, decisive action, and the power of unity, the Vietnamese people can forge victories that endure forever.